So hello guys, welcome to Java JSON. In this video, we can discuss about some ORM properties that is very important also for you. So if you are working with the Spring Data JPA, then you can get some benefit like you don't want to create a tables. It's automatically created if you do some configurations in the properties file. Okay, so table no need to create, table, create table you're on. It's automatically created if you give the command like, hey, you have to create the tables and each and everything. If you want to give the database also creation, those also you can do. Okay, database also automatically you can create new database, that is also possible. So let me write here one more, which is create database. If it is not available, create db. If not available, db means nothing but a schema. I am saying db schema. Okay, a schema. Not, you can think like, okay, we can create MySQL, we can create it, not like that. We can create a schema if not available by the help of our create command into the our configurations. We can do, we can create. So database also we can create. We can no need to create table you're on into the JPA. In JPA, that is the benefit we have. Next thing is like if you don't want to if you want to see like what are the queries he creating to show all those things, so those also you can see. Okay, for example, you want to format the query. Okay, query format you want to see, so you can configure those things. If you want to show query into the console, so SQL query in console, then you can do the configurations and it will automatically show for you. Okay, so let's start and try to understand with the new project. So I'm going to create one new project. Okay, let's go to the file, new Spring Boot starters, and we can create one project called Spring Boot Data JPA, not Spring Boot Data JPA. Just give here JPA ORM properties, ORM properties, and click on next. And in that case, what I want JPA, I want Lombok, I want MySQL drivers, and other than that I don't want. Okay, so let's finish it. Okay, so what we can do is, this is the application. If I try to run these applications, this is not our application, this is the application ORM properties. Okay, so this is our application. If I try to run this application, we can get some error, right? Because configurations we have not provided as of now. So what we can do is, we can provide the configurations of the database. So let's go to the resource application.properties files, and here you can provide the URL, user ID and password for the database. So what I'm going to write is Spring Boot data source dot username. Username is nothing but root. In the same way, just do the copy paste and provide the URL, provide the password, data source dot URL and data source dot password. Okay, that is also root for us. Okay, so this is the configurations, and also what we can do is, here we can provide the configurations, which is JDBC colon MySQL colon / localhost colon our port number 3006 / our database name. Okay, what is the database name? So database name is something called temporary temp db. So temp db is not available in our database. If you go here and if you see, so we have a database name called sb001 sys test db, but now I have given one more db called, let me delete this database, so drop now. So it's also drop. Now we have only two database, which is sys or SB001. Okay, and this is the new database which we have provided. Correct? What I am going to do is, let's go to the Google, do some research, create table, create database if not exist in MySQL properties file. Okay, if you search it, it will give you lots of the options. Any one option you can pick it. So if you see here, this is the data source configurations they have given, driver name, MySQL, everything. At the end, they have given the dialect. If you go down, okay. This is the DDL update. I don't want to do those. Okay. DDL create. It's for the table. So DDL-Auto will do work for the tables only. DDL educations. For database, I am checking. So for database, let's go down. So if you see here, it's given, you just add create database if not exist equal to true, where we have to give it after your database. So this is the database name, which is test. After that, you can just give the question mark, and after that you can put it here. What it will do is, it will create if it is not available. Okay, this is the lots of the configuration they have given, auto reconnect or everything, but we don't want to give all those things. Okay, we are doing some simple things, and after that we can give the questions marks and create database if not exist equal to true. Just we have given these configurations, and right now you are able to see here in the here there is no database. Okay, let's go here and try to run this project. ORM properties project. So let's try to run this project. Okay, right click on the project and go to the run as a Spring Boot app. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. So if you see, there is no error occurred. Okay, there is no error occurred in our application. It's running. So go to the workbench and let's refresh here. You can see one temp DB is created without tables or anything. It's an empty database created, which is temp DB. Okay, so this is the temp DB which is created with the help of our coding itself. We have written this command, create database if not exist equal to true. That is very powerful. So each and everything you can control by the help of the configurations in the Spring Boot itself. Okay, and this DB is also created if not exist. We have connected with the database also. Now how database is created, we don't know, right? We don't know how database is created. So what we can do is, we can write one more query. If you go here and if you see, the next is show SQL. We need to see like what are the query he generated to show those things. Okay, so for that also we can add the configuration to check. So those are the ORM properties. So those are the ORM properties. So ORM properties is nothing but like a spring.jpa. Right? Or you can write so SQL. So SQL, it's not suggesting, or maybe it's taking some time. Okay, spring.jpa.SoSQL. So just click on that. Say spring.jpa. I have not written the properties. Just I have written the SoSQL is equal to true. So this is the true only. We have the options. So let's mark as a true. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to delete this database. So let's drop this data. Is drop now. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to run one more times our application. Okay, let's run these applications and let's analyze the console log. So if you analyze the console log, okay, so there is nothing else printed here, I think. Okay, go little bit side and you can see the how connection is happened. So Hikari is starting. Okay, bootstrapping. Okay, fine. This is the connection name. Hibernate core version. node time, loader viewers, spring data transform. So this all things has happened. Okay, but it's not showing like how those SQL database is created. Okay, no, it's so fine. Okay, what we can do is we are going to create one entity class. Okay, so in our applications I'm going to create one entity class. Let's create one entity class called users, or maybe user entity. So you can see easily user entity, so you can understood. Okay, in the user entity I'm going to make this class as a @entity class. Okay, I'm going to give some table name. Okay, table, and name I will provide here, which is user table, user table. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write something called variable, which is private int id. Next is private string name, private string password. This is the normal details I have provided. I don't want to modify anything, just I have to provide here primary key, which is @id. Okay, and let's go and create one repository, but this one I have to move inside the entity. So enti entity, create a new package and move it. Now I'm going to create one repository class. So dot repo user repository. This is not a class, this is interface. You can take now JPA repository also, so extend from the JPA or anything. So let's go with the JPA repository. JPA repository will take the type, so we are going to pass user entity and ID as a integer value right now. Okay, integer class. Fine, that's it. Our entity is ready. And our entity is also ready, our repository is also ready. In the entity we want some lombok methods, so at the data we can write. Okay, so it will provide all those getter setter methods. Now what I'm going to do is in the main class I am going to store some data. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just getting the context for that. So this is the context, and based on that context what I will do is I will do context.getBeans bean, and I will take the bean of repository itself. Directly I will use the repository, so I will write user repository dot class. It will give me one user repository. Based on that object I will try to insert some data into the database. Okay, what I'm going to do is I want to store some data into the database, but if you see here in our database which we have configured, which is tempdb, there is no tables right now. There is no tables in that. If I remove it, let me remove it. If you refresh it in the tempdb, there is no tables right now, it's empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create automatically table also, database also, and I will insert some data also. So what I'm going to do is here I'm going to write those code. So as of now just I have loaded the repository class. If I not load also, it will create the table inside the database. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just I'm going to comment it. Okay, if you see here, because of this entity class @entity, the table will be created automatically into the database, but we have to add some configurations here. Those I will add it here. Or you can write auto. Okay, so I have written DDL-Auto DDL underscore auto. Otherwise you can write the full is also DDL auto only. So spring dot JPA dot hibernate spring dot JPA dot hibernate dot DDL auto, and we can write create. We have a create, drop, lots of the things options we have, insert drop, validate. So I'm going to write just create. Okay, just create, nothing else. So I have mentioned as a create. Okay, now let's go to our we have already created the entity class, and these tables we need to generate automatically. So right click on your project and just try to run your project. If you run your project, JPA having a capability which we have configured, which is ORM properties, it will create the table into the database. If you go and see the console, it's saying drop table if exist user tables. Okay, drop table if exist user tables. If it is not exist, then what it will do, it will create table, user table, id integer, not null, which is primary key, name varchar, password varchar, primary key, which is id. So based on that one, it's generated the SQL query for us. Okay, it's generated the SQL query for us. And why it's showing the SQL query here? Because we have written one more configuration, which is show SQL in the properties file. Because of this show SQLs. Okay, if I comment this, you can't see those queries on the console. Okay, so let me run one more time. So right now you are not able to see any queries, okay, because of that properties file. Okay, so if I enable it true, then only it will show the queries on the console. Let's go to the database, and if you see and refresh it, just refresh it. If you refresh it, you can see one table is created. Okay, so we have not created any database, we have not created any tables. Automatically everything is happen by the help of ORM properties configurations. So I am trying to explain you like how it's doing each and everything. Okay, next thing is we have a format. Okay, what is the new thing is format. So if you go here, I have written either like create a database schema. So we have a query. If you do the DDL auto, no need to create a table, automatically it will create. Format the SQL, so the SQL. So let's go with the format SQL now. So if you do the format SQL, so full properties I have to write. So let me write SQL. So it's saying like JPS OSQL, flyway init mode, username, password. It's not coming as a format. We can do the format also. FORMAT, there is nothing format like that available. Okay, no issue, we can write all those things. So what we can write here is we can write spring dot JPA dot properties dot hibernate this hibernate. So spring dot properties dot hibernate dot format format underscore SQL equal to true. So this is the another properties we have, and if you keep this property and if you run this, So SQL, whatever the queries you are able to see on the console, those it will show in the formatted way, but it's not showing as of now right now. So create table, user tables, it's not formatting those things. Okay, so maybe our string.jp.properties.hibernate.format format underscore SQL equal to true we have mentioned, but it's not, but no, so we can do the format also. That is not too much important. Seeing the query is important, and creating a table is important, creating a database is important. That is very important things which you have to understood. Basically configure the database is also very important things. Those are the ORM properties. Okay, so this is the things which we have done. Let's we have created our repository also. So let's go to our test and try to insert some data. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert some data. So what I'm going to do is here user repository dot save. I will call the save method and I will pass here new user entity and the identity dot set id 1001 dot set name. We can do it like that. So what I'm going to do is copy this, come back here, user entity, copy this user entity and paste it here. Set user entity value, user entity dot set name which is normal prints. Okay, and then password also we have to set user entity dot set password, anything. Okay, finally you can pass your user entity here and we are going to insert those data into the database. Okay, so for that, what are the queries are going to create to insert this data into the database? Let's see. Okay, so going to run and see all those query on the consoles. So everything whatever we are doing, it's automatically generated, just we have to focus on the writing a code. So if you see here, create table, so new table is created, integer id not null, this table created query. Let me copy it. This is the created table query. This is Hibernate, it's creating. Okay, this is the query, create table, user table, this is the fields, db in mentioning just. Okay, next thing is while storing a data into the database, it's selecting and checking first like this particular record is available in the db or not. If it is not available, then only inserting the new record with the same method. So same method having a power to update the records or insert the record also, right? So if you see here, it's showing like select u0 id, username or user password from the user tables, right? And it's checking where user, like what are the primary key we have sent it. If it is already available, then don't insert new record, just update it. If it is not available, then insert the new records. Okay, so if I run this our application multiple times, it will do the same thing. Why it's doing the same thing? Because we have done the configurations to create each and every time. Okay, right now if you see, it's only created the tables and it stored the data again. Why? Because we have configured our application as a properties file create. So what create will do? It will create the application every time. Okay, it will create the table every time. If you go to the database and if you refresh it, there it will not there is in the table there is no record for the multiple data. It's only one record because every time it's deleting it. What if I do this create to update? If I do update, what will happen? If you run this your program with the same ID, it will say, hey, you can't insert it. Okay, because this ID is already available. Okay, so if you see here, there is no record will be inserted. If you see, there is no record will be inserted. There is no queries running for the insert the records. If you change the primary key value, which is inside this class, which is maybe 1 to 2, then only it will store the record into the database. Otherwise, it will not store the record into the database. It will just update it. Let me show you. So if you see here right now, it's inserting the record into the user tables. Okay, and if you go to the table also, if you try to refresh it, you can see the 2 records. So what I'm going to do is just I have changed the ID. Now I'm going to update these Prince to Prince Kumar and password also I'm going to update. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to my class, ID will be same, name I'm going to update which is Kumar, or maybe this password I don't want, I want 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and I want to update it, just I don't want to do anything, any other things. If I run this code, you can see in the console it's going to update now. Okay, it's going to update now. So if you see, it's written the query like update user table set username is this one, password is this one, where ID is this one. So that much intelligent is our JPA. It's understood with the same method save. We want to update or we want to insert the record based on your data, based on your primary key. Okay, if you refresh this, you can see your table is updated. If you see, your table is updated. Let me show you clearly. Your table is updated, which ID is 1002, which is updated with the Prince Kumar and password is 12345. Okay, that is the power having a Spring Boot data JPA. With the configurations, you can handle everything. So let me conclude you. So what I'm trying to tell you is, like, what are the configurations which we have seen as of now. Okay, let me copy it. This is the configurations which we have done as of now. So here if you see, this is very very important. Okay, create database if not exist equal to true. If database schema is not present, then it will create a schema. If it is already present, then it will not do anything. Okay, next thing is show SQL. Show SQL is also very very important things. Okay, so this is the properties which is very very important. So one by one we will discuss it about it. Okay, next thing is like if you call the JPA method, then query will generate those query we can see on the console with the ORM properties. Okay, so let me write it. If you call the JPA method, then query will generate those query we can see on console with the help of ORM properties. Those you have to remember it, like which property is helping us. So SQL. Okay, create one project. Okay, and I show you like all those things, like how we have to do. Even it's a card repository or JPA repository, it does not matter. You can use anyone, it will work Fine. Okay, next thing is if table is not exist in the database and if you not return the ORM properties, what will happen? You can get some error. Okay, for example, I will show you. Run if table is not exist in database schema, then we got error. But if we use ORM properties, which is DDL-Auto, it will create table for us. So that is the power having a DDL-Auto, which is this query. DDL-Auto. It's also very big. So you can use this query, DDL-Auto, not this one. I'm not able to do copy also. This is, we can use it. ORM properties. Okay, next thing is like we can ask JPA to create a tables, add more properties file, and we can do all those things. And here we have a 3 options. Okay, 4 options, which is update, create drop, and insert drop also we have. So lots of the things we have, we can use those also, and I will show you. Okay, and I show you just the show method, how it's reflecting. If you use the same method and if you have the different if you provide the data which is primary key, then they will insert the data. If it is not, then it will update the data. Okay, so that is also very important. Okay, so if pk is same present in DB, then record record will update. If not, then it will insert as a new record. If not, then it will insert the new record. Okay, let's understand something like DDL-Auto is used to generate the schema dynamically in the runtime, not a schema, it's a table. For this property, we can supply below's value. Okay, so we have something called insert. Okay, so if you go to your application and if you type here insert, not insert, validate we have. So we have a create drop, non, update or validate. Okay, so create drop, create, we have already seen create drop will just create the tables and it will drop it. So this will for the testing purpose we can use it. So create drop people are using for the testing purpose. Non we are not using generally. Update we are using If data is already available, it will not do anything. If it is not available, it will create the table for you, and it will do the modification also, whatever you want. It will do the update also. And validate means like if you want to do some validations, like it's going to create a tables or not. So those things it will do also. So let's see the validate work. Validate the schema, make no change to the database. It will just check like if this schema is available or not. It will not do any changes. Okay, so we can use the validate also sometimes. Now if you see, the record is already available, so it will not do anything. There is no changes in our data. No changes, just say okay, everything is fine, no need to update anything. So it's not run the command for the update also. That is the power of save methods. Okay, nothing is happening with the validate. So if you go and if you refresh, those schema are available also, those table are also available. Let's run it and you can see those data also available. So it will not do any changes. If you go with the create drop, what it will do? Validate the schema, make no changes on the database. It will also not do any changes. Just create and drop it will do those particular tables. Okay, every times. So generally what we are using it. So first thing is like create. So create we are using to every time new table will be created. So every time new table will create. Second is create drop. So here what will happen is in the create every time new table will be created, and in create drop every time new table will be created and will drop also. So every time new table will create and drop also will happen. Okay, so nothing same to same. No, not same to same, but both are saying the same only. Like create, one is saying the create, another is saying the drop. Okay, create and drop. So almostly same. Okay, third thing is like update. Update is very important, everyone using it. So update if table is not available, if table is not a present, then it will create. If present, then nothing it will do. What is the fourth one? Fourth one is just validate to verify the schema, present or not. And fifth is non, so it will not do anything. Nothing it will do. So this is the properties which we are using while creating a tables from the database, and those are the very important configurations. I will suggest you to go and try to do all those things and try to observe what exactly is happening with the help of that. Okay, so that you can understand in the better way. Thank you so much.